published, 7:43 EDT, the 22nd of May 2018, updated, 12:26 EDT, the 22nd of May 2018. Gloria Hunniford said she will always remember Dale Winton stan and his humour at the late TV presenter's star-studded funeral. Ms. Hunniford joined famous faces including David Walliams, Anthea Turner, Martine McCutcheon and Matt Lucas for the funeral, which saw comic John Culshaw perform a hilarious Winton impression. Winton's friend Dame Barbara Windsor could not be at the service, after it emerged she has Alzheimer's, but mutual friend Christopher Biggins said she would have been here if she could. Mr. Biggins said, "She's got Alzheimer's and she gets confused, and I think it would have been too confusing today, but I know her thoughts and love will be with him and all of his family, and everybody." Supermarket sweep star Winton died in April and was laid to rest following a non-religious service at a church in central London today, on what would have been his 63rd birthday. An order of service for the funeral, held at 1 Marylebone, reveals that Walliams gave a reading, as well as former EastEnders star McCutcheon. Winton's godsons Josh, Ben and Louis Lindsay also gave a tribute. Mr. Winton's white coffin, covered with a beautiful large display of white roses, was carried from a hearse into the venue, followed by members of his family. The coffin of TV presenter Dale Winton, who was found dead at his home in North London last month, is carried into a memorial service in his memory this afternoon. David Walliams gave a reading at the service, as well as former EastEnders star Martine McCutcheon. Comedian David Walliams and TV presenter Anthea Turner were among the celebrities at a service in memory of Dale Winton. Martine McCutcheon read "What Should Life Be?" at the service. Vanessa Feltz, Wright, arrived with her partner. Benofo Gabby Roslin was among the host of famous faces at the funeral, at which John Culshaw did an impression of Winton. Comedian Matt Lucas was also at the service, as well as Piers Morgan. Dale regularly appeared on Matt Lucas' BBC comedy show Come Fly With Me. Gloria Hunniford was among the celebrities at a non-religious humanist memorial service for TV legend Dale Winton today. Claire Sweeney and the boy band Blue both performed, while comedian John Culshaw also gave a tribute. Blue performed their hit, One Love, while Ms. Sweeney sang Alfie, recorded by Cilla Black in 1965, and Going Back by Dusty Springfield. Walliams, a close friend of Wintons, Read If You Go, also recorded by Springfield, while McCutcheon read What Should Life Be? Comic and impressionist John Culshaw said there was a great sense of celebration in their service, during which he gave a reading while doing an impression of Winton. He told the Press Association, "I was asked to speak, and to have sections where I would take on Dale's voice, and at first I said, 'Are you sure?' And his friends and family said, 'Yes, of course, to hear his voice, that's really what we want.' So I wrote a verse, and there were certain moments in it where I could do that, where it felt like a natural way to do it." Culshaw added that he will remember Winton for his generosity, his warmth and his wit. When he appeared, there was no denying it, everybody was happier instantly. Everybody would smile hugely, and he made that happen by just being there. It was just like magic. I always describe it as like turning on the lights, and what a light. Comedian Matt Lucas is seen leaving the service while Martine McCutcheon hugs another mourner after the service. Lee Ryan, Anthony Costu and Duncan James From the boy band Blue leave the service after performing to the congregation. David Walliams hugs another mourner as celebrities leave the funeral of Dale Winton in central London this afternoon. David Walliams and other mourners leave the church in Marylebone this afternoon. Guests said it was a good send-off. Matt Lucas leaves the service this afternoon, at which Winton's close friend Dame Barbara Windsor could not be present. After the funeral, Piers Morgan said the service was incredibly moving and that it was what the late TV presenter would have wanted. Morgan said, "I think Dale would have loved it. There were some lovely musical performances, Blue were great and Claire Sweeney, and all the addresses, there were a lot of them. They were all very different and very moving." The Good Morning Britain host said a reading by Winton's three godsons brought a tear to everyone's eye. Morgan said he shed a tear when the godsons were talking, adding, "I've got three sons who are a little bit older than them, and to have that kind of profound effect on boys of that age is quite an unusual thing. And they were all clearly very, very close to him." They got quite emotional, we all got quite emotional, the whole thing was perfectly pitched, beautifully organized, perfect casting, just as Dale would have wanted. And I think he'd have looked down and thought they did me proud. Claire Sweeney, who sang Cilla Black's classic Alfie, arrived for the service with Panto star Christopher Biggins. Duncan James and Simon Webb were seen arriving. The group Blue performed their hit One Love at the service. Blue's Anthony Costa was seen arriving at the memorial service ahead of his band's performance of its famous hit. Anthea Turner said the service was the most beautiful hour and a half and that Dale was there. She added, "Of Winton, he would have been chuffed to have seen us all there." It was very emotional, but it was beautifully produced and polished. You wouldn't normally say that, but in this instance it's worth saying, and the people who put it together did the most magnificent job. I'm truly glad I was there. Turner joked that Winton would have perhaps liked there to be more champagne at the service, but that he would have been very pleased. Gloria Hunniford said that she will always remember Winton for that, Dan, of course, as well as his humour, because he was always very bright. Speaking after the funeral, she said it was a really sad day, but a really bright, sunny day that he would have loved. Veteran radio DJ Tony Blackburn and journalist Gary Bushell joined other famous faces at the ceremony. Today left journalist turned TV presenter Matthew Wright. Former football star Graham Souness. Former football player and manager Graham Souness, who struck up an unlikely friendship with Dale, was at the ceremony. Ms. Hunniford said she felt particularly sad when she saw the coffin leaving the church, adding, "You sort of instinctively want to go and touch the coffin, or say something, but you can't break out of that setup." She said, "A lot of people paid their respects. I think, when you get a shock when somebody dies suddenly and they are so young, the first thing you feel is, oh gosh, I never got to say goodbye. And that's why today was very special. We all got a chance, in our own ways, to say our own small goodbye to Dale." Hunniford said that a reading by Winton's godsons was utterly superb, and added, "The sentiment was fantastic and you can just tell that, although Dale never had children of his own, that he was really gorgeous to his godchildren and very hands-on, so that was lovely to hear." Anthea Turner was among a host of TV stars who attended the Old Church on Marylebone Road this afternoon. Former EastEnders star Martine McCutcheon will read at the service, while Claire Sweeney and boy band Blue will perform. Former Brookside actress Claire Sweeney is among a number of celebrity performers at the non-religious ceremony. Tony Blackburn said that the funeral was a good send-off for Winton. he said, "It was a lovely ceremony. It was really lovely. He was a lovely guy. I knew him very well and it was very sad. He should still be here. I will remember him as being a nice person." Blackburn added, "I went round to his house. Actually, to be honest with you, it's because of him that I have a projection unit at home. He had a television in practically every room, which I've got, but he had a great big projection unit at home, and I went out and bought a better one. And he came around to me and saw I'd got a better one, so he bought another better one. But I'll always remember him as a very nice guy, very lovely." Vanessa Feltz said that Winton was a really adorable person as she spoke after the funeral, which she said was a humanist service. The broadcaster told the Press Association, "He was extremely generous and funny and very, very kind. He's really, properly missed. He had a public persona and a public role and everybody knows about that, but as a friend and a real individual, he was extremely nice and kind, and just a lovely adornment to everyone's lives." Humanist funeral are described as a way of giving a fitting tribute to people who have lived without religion. Winton's white coffin, covered in a huge display of white roses, was carried into the church by pallbearers this afternoon. Winton was found dead at his home in North London on April 18. Following his death, Williams described him as the best company, always outrageous and hilarious, adding, "He adored being in show business and loved meeting fans." A beautiful display of white roses was placed on the coffin as it was carried into the church ahead of the memorial service. Mark and Sarah Lindsay, friends of Mr. Winton, whose friendship he described as one of the richest relationships in my life. Mr. Winton's family and godsons walked behind the coffin into the church shortly after 1 p.m. this afternoon. Ms. Feltz said the service was really very moving, very heartfelt, very beautiful, with those magnificent white flowers on the coffin and in the church, and that the church was absolutely packed. There wasn't a seat to be had. I think he would have loved it. He'd have really enjoyed it, she added. There were lots of jokes and lots of funny memories, and the music was all his favorite songs. It was just a shame that he wasn't there. Winton had moved into their house in Totteridge about 3 weeks before he died, his neighbours said. His death is being treated by Scotland Yard as unexplained but not suspicious. The North London Coroner's Office has released a statement on his death, which reads, "Their investigation into the death of Dale Winton is being undertaken by the North London Coroner's Service and is awaiting the outcome of further inquiries. An inquest has not been opened at this time." The TV personality became a household name with game shows such as Supermarket Sweep and National Lottery Show In It to Win It. Supermarket Sweep, which saw contestants run around a mock-up shop collecting shopping items, was a hit in the 1990s and was later revived. The Supermarket Sweep and National Lottery presenter died aged 62 at his home in North London, 2 years after he revealed he was battling depression. Speaking after the Today's service, Christopher Biggins said the actress may have found the send-off too difficult. A bouquet of white roses has been laid outside the former residence of Mr. Winton, who died last month in 2016. Winton opened up about his battle with depression, triggered by a breakup. "Listen, there are worse things in the world, but I had depression and I didn't realize," he told Loose Women. I had a bad breakup and then I had health issues. He revealed he could not meet anyone to spend his life because he spent too much time chasing mean and nasty men. He said, "Nobody wants a camp, over 60-year-old man. I can't go on dating sites. I'm quite well known, so the minute you see the picture it's desperately unattractive to another gay man to find a guy in show business on their apostrophe." He added, "It's time I went from troubled boys to nice guys." Ahead of his funeral, UK humanist organisation Confirmed said, "We are very proud to be giving the humanist funeral of a national treasure, Dale Winton. He was loved so much and by so many, and tomorrow his loved ones will be celebrating the life he led and the positive impact he had on their lives." From DJ to household name, how Dale Winton, famed for his tan and flamboyant demeanor, rocketed to fame as supermarket sweep host to become a nation's favorite. Dale Winton, the popular game show host perhaps best known for Supermarket Sweep, has died at the age of 62. He was a household name in the mid-1990s and early 2000s while fronting shows such as Supermarket Sweep and the National Lottery, In It to Win It, but had kept a low profile in recent years. Winton was born in Marylebone, London, in May 1955 to Gary and Cherie, an actress. Winton became a household name when he appeared in TV game show Supermarket Sweep. His parents divorced when he was 10 and his father died 3 years later on Winton's bar mitzvah. Just days after he turned 21, Winton discovered his mother, who he adored, had died after taking an overdose. His career in show business began when he worked as a DJ on their London club scene before he moved into work in radio and television. His big break came with Supermarket Sweep, which saw contestants racing around a supermarket collecting items. He went on to present the National Lottery draw, rubbing shoulders with some of show business's most famous faces. Dale Winton had an unlikely friendship with Liverpool and Scotland hardman Graham Souness and his wife Karen Reid. Dale Winton had an unlikely friendship with Liverpool and Scotland hardman Graham Souness. The friends met in a London restaurant after Dale flirted with the former footballer's wife Karen. Dale shouted across to Mrs. Souness, "You are gorgeous, you are," before turning to her husband and saying, "And so are you." Graham would later appear on his mockumentary Wedding to Nell McAndrew, where he was Dale's best man and organised his stag do. Later explaining what their relationship was like, Dale said, "It's great. People always do a double take when I camp as Christmas Dale, walk into a restaurant with the hard man of football and Karen. Having had so many hard knocks himself in life, Graham is a brilliant people manager. And because he isn't in the same business as me, he is able to bring a completely fresh perspective to my problems. I love asking him for advice." He hosted the show from 1993 to 2001, and was involved in a 2007 reboot. From there, Winton moved on to prime-time shows including the National Lottery's In It to Win It and went on to host his own Christmas specials as well as celebrity guest shows. In his 2002 autobiography he came out as gay. In recent years the once prolific star disappeared from TV screens, and in an interview earlier this year he claimed he was keeping a low profile after undergoing several rounds of surgery. In 2015 he sparked concern after failing to attend the funeral of celeb, who was one of his closest friends. Just days after he turned 21, Winton discovered his mother, who he adored, had died after taking an overdose. A year later, he appeared on TV's Loose Women and revealed he had been secretly battling depression after going through a difficult breakup. He told the show, "I should have taken myself off the TV but I didn't. Listen, there are worse things in the world, but I had depression and I didn't realize. I always thought, get over yourself. But my mum died of it. It exists and anybody out there who has had it knows it exists. I didn't want to put one foot in front of the other, but for a couple of really good friends. Earlier this year he was back on our screens, hosting Dale Winton's Florida Fly Drive on Channel 5. However, only one episode aired in February after the network decided not to show the remainder of the series following the shooting at the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. The other episodes were due to air in June, Channel 5 said.